Welcome to the week 3 Go-Do training. So we're going to talk a little bit today about motivation and gamification. We've kind of talked a little bit about these throughout the week so far, so it's kind of, just an extension of that same conversation. But at this point in week 3 of psychology of play, we've considered how play affects us individually. We've talked about play history, play personality, how play affects the brain, how flow works, how our creativity kind of works. So we want to look a little bit more closely at these strategies on a larger scale. So what we'll be covering today: motivation, self-determination theory, gamification, fun theory, and mixing work and play. So again, things we've kind of talked about already, but it's important to kind of drive these home. I think they're pretty interesting and important to go over. So Dan Pink, we've already talked about Dan. The candle problem, all that. There's definitely a lot that can be gained from a lot of the readings that we've done. So if you haven't done the readings, please make sure you're doing them. We focus on a lot of the people that we look at, because of what they do. So if you know Dan Pink, he's written about the business world and work and management. So pretty smart, influential guy, worth checking his stuff out. So we're living in the conceptual age, and kind of what does that mean? Dan Pink kind of talks about that. He says that we're no longer living in the information age. Today's society is kind of shifted to the conceptual age, and what does that mean? We're reaping the benefits of having information all around us. You guys have this right now. Here and now, we're having a meeting. And we're all within the same city, but this could easily be across the world. Really, it's more like the information is just kind of at our fingertips. Whatever we want to know, we can basically figure it out. Gathering information. It's not like when think about when I was a kid and I said to my mom, I'd say, "Hey mom, how does this work?" And she'd say, "Where we can find out." And her favorite thing was at the library. And it was like this call and response that we had. I would ask her a question and she'd say, "Where you can find out? At the library." And so now we have Google, we have all these information tools. Everything is just kind of right there in front of us. So having information is great, but at a certain point, it can almost be, it's kind of like trivia type stuff. It's not always, general information, general knowledge. It can be acquired quickly. It's not nearly as difficult as it once was. On the flip side, we've seen the information age replace a lot of jobs. Left brain things, sequential work, logical things, organizing, a lot of things, jobs that have been outsourced by machines and software programs. A lot of, accounting can be done with an Excel spreadsheet. Paula says her mom was a big fan of the encyclopedia. Yeah, no, my mom was definitely big on finding out information. But yeah, I mean, you look now and it's like so much of, right, whole occupations, there's still librarians, but, libraries aren't what they used to be. It's like, the video we were watching where, we're talking, Dan Pink was talking about, right, people used to write encyclopedias and now it gets crowdsourced. So there's a lot's changed, just what's relevant information, and what's important to know, and what's, what are important tasks to have. So, kind of what that brings us to is, what are the utmost important skills? So an attractive candidate in the workplace has changed over the years. It used to be, someone who got there, did what they were told, didn't ask questions, assembled their widgets, and got out at the end of the day. And now what we're looking for, someone who has more of, the brain's right hemisphere type stuff. So a lot of, imagination, creativity, what's on the slide, obviously artistry, big picture thinking, empathy, and inventiveness. Because we have machines that will do a lot of the logical work for us, and that will put the stuff together. What we want is big thinkers, creativity. That's what a lot of the employers are going to be looking for. That's really what's important in today's business world. For a lot of your industries, you're already utilizing a lot of these skills. You're developing mastery of these skills, which gives you the advantage in today's competitive world. It's you're here working on creative skills that I think a lot of the other people out there, maybe some people have similar skills, similar backgrounds, but it's definitely it's important to kind of develop those skills early on and have them, because at a certain point, that's what people are going to be looking for. So, what moves us to action at work? What actually motivates employees? We want to take a look at, what causes us to perform and achieve. We've been talking about this all week. We've talked about it, so I won't say it's going to come as any big surprises what motivates each of us, but there's traditional ideas. People have thought, bonuses, rewards, incentives, result in employee accomplishments. Not always the case, as as you all have found out in the past. You looked at a lot of the so it's right, it's wrong was the answer to that. The misconceptions behind why people work hard, what motivates them. It comes down to an employee's performance and accomplishments. The common assumption is that money is going to be driving them. You all have kind of seen that. We've talked about it time and time again. What we're looking for, or the secret to motivation, is what we've said time and time. Can anyone tell me before I go to the next slide what the three things? There are three things. Feel free to jump in the chat box if anyone can remember the three things that motivate people that we've talked about kind of a million times. It's been my song and dance the whole time. Oh, autonomy, mastery, and what's the last one? Not money, no. Purpose. Yes, there you go. Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Well done. So yeah, that's really what we're looking for. I drill these ones in because they're super important. This is big here. It's a big thing. It's a big theme of our class, but it's not just that. I have one of my siblings is he's a bigwig at a cable company, and he brings this up. He's talked to me about this. The autonomy, mastery, and purpose. What he wants out of his people that he employs. What he's looking for. So, right. So autonomy. We want to be self-directed. That's really what it all kind of boils down to. We have some ideas about, we have our task, but we want to be able to do it on our own. We're competent individuals. You've all, you've done the work. You've kind of put a lot of work into, getting your skill base. So, somebody can just say, hey, go make X, do this thing, achieve this task. And the task might be pretty complicated, but, you have mastery in that field. Someone trusts you because of your mastery. we ideally want to be the best at what we're doing. Ideally, um, I imagine it's pretty satisfying for most people. I know the things that I'm very good at, I'm super happy when I can do them and I can do them well. And when I realize that that's something that's useful for people, I'm sure a lot of you feel that way. If you have a skill and you can do something really well, it's really satisfying to do it. And then you have purpose. So I, I think everyone, uh, as far as purpose goes, we've talked about it time and time again. I don't think anyone came here and said, "Hey, I want to go here and I want to go to school and spend money and get an education to be mediocre." I think everyone came here because they want to be awesome at whatever it is they do. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to put the time and effort into an education if you didn't care a great deal about being totally awesome at what you want to learn about. Um, People want a purpose. They want a reason. It's what makes them come into work or go to school. It's what makes companies flourish. That's really, what people are looking for, or, the why or the, purpose. When you guys were picking schools, did any of that stuff come to your mind? Did anyone have like ideas about autonomy, mastery, and purpose? If you want to jump in the text box, you can. If you want to raise your hand, I'll be happy to call on people. All right, so Eric wanted to learn how to animate and make games. Definitely. And did you look at like a bunch of schools and did you think like, your decision-making process, or did you just like, this is the first school, or kind of how did that break down for you? Okay, so Paolo researched a few schools, looked all over the country. Okay, Eric looked at Dave's school. Okay, I've heard of them, definitely. Okay, yeah, sure. Full Sail was your second choice. You chose us. Cool. That's awesome. So right, everyone kind of has like a lot of options. Some of the degree programs don't have as many options. Show production. I don't know another school that teaches show production. But we everyone kind of looks, and right at the end of the day, I know we like to toot our own horn. We get high marks in certain reviews. Paul studied the curriculums. Okay, yeah. So you saw that we had something that you valued, the education, and you said, hey, if I do this, I can then be marketable in my field, which ideally, gives you the mastery, hopefully, which allows you some autonomy, and at the end of the day, sends you home with purpose. So definitely, I'm glad you're all here. So at the end of the day, that it's cool that you're here. I've asked several times what motivates people. Feel free, jump in if you have things that we haven't talked about, or if we have things that you have talked about. Anyone want to share additional things that motivate them? Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay. I will not push it. Oh, inspiring young children with your work one day. Awesome. Yeah, no, definitely. That's super cool. I think that's fantastic to inspire young people. Heck, inspire old people. Um, right? Yeah, I think a lot of people want to do that. They want to be able to inspire others with the work that they do. Um, yeah, it's nice to know that your work is valued. You're important. And that you do something that touches other people's lives. Okay, so you want to deliver strong messages about society's realities. Okay, definitely. Yeah, wow. Okay, giving back to your former country in order to make it grow. Absolutely. Sure, yeah. So I think, right, being able to serve society at large, give back to, right, to your homeland. Sure, there's just a ton of stuff that, I mean, I think just, um, right, being able to be successful in the field and say, hey, you know, I came from this place, and maybe that's good, bad, or indifferent. But right, I did my best, and here's what I achieved, and here's what I'm able to give back. So I think that everyone at some level wants to give back, whether that's financially or through services that they provide. Um, Inspiring others. I think those are all really a way of giving back. So um, everyone, right, wants to feel valued and kind of return a service to other people. So definitely. We actually already watched the video. Sorry, this was supposed to happen on Tuesday, so we're a little bit out of order. But we want to talk about the candle problem. You guys remember this? What motivates people? I'm sorry, I'll sit here and talk about it. So you had the candle problem, and you asked people to solve it. To set the candle up so that you could attach it to the wall, and you could burn the candle and wax would drip on the floor. And basically, people figured out that you had to dump the tacks out of the box and put it against the wall. And right, so people were motivated, to do that, and they found that trying to incentivize people with money made it harder for them to perform the creative task where they had to take the tacks out of the box. But when you had people who had, when you already took the tacks out of the box and you made it more of a, assembly skill, people were incentivized by money. So, um, I think that when it comes to creative thinking, definitely not just about the money. Money is great and it's useful, and I'm not going to sit and say it's not helpful. But right, I think that when you are looking at it, it's going to kind of it can mess up the creative process. So right, there we go. More creative tasks versus more mechanical tasks. The more creative tasks, not really incentivized by, the financial reward system doesn't really work the same way. More mechanical tasks, financial rewards work great. Totally, they're super useful in that situation. If you have to, assemble things, build stuff, it's definitely, it's definitely a way to incentivize people. But right, counterproductive when asked people to do creative tasks. So businesses really they benefit from knowing when to hang rewards out there and when not to. When businesses pay people enough to take the issue of money off the table, it's fostering an environment of limitless return. I wish all businesses knew this. That'd be fantastic. But right, we kind of intrinsically know this. If we're well paid, it communicates that we're valued. That our skills and our expertise are viewed as company assets. So right, when a company sees us and they say, hey, you're worth, taking care of you, making sure that your financial needs are met so you can house yourself, feed yourself, provide for your family. When we do that, we kind of, companies will open the door to, us being able to create, because we're not really that worried about, getting our needs met. It's I don't know if it's something that everyone's familiar with, but there's what's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which isn't in the content, so I'm not going to, you won't be tested on it. But basically, the hierarchy of needs is this. If you're interested, you feel free to Google it. It's this system that basically says, once your most basic needs are met, there's kind of a hierarchy built in that, like, basically once you're fed and sheltered, your needs kind of work in this certain direction, and it ends up with like self-fulfillment. So, when we take a lot of the basic needs off the table, so our need for, food and shelter, money, essentially, when those things are taken care of, we're able to access a lot more of our creativity and work in that way. So, self-determination theory. It's a theory that explains human behavior from kind of a different angle than traditional behavioral theory. And it says that we're wired towards personal growth, that we're motivated intrinsically, so internally, we're motivated from within. Our self-determination basically forms, who we are. Does anyone kind of have thoughts or experiences like that? They at some point made a decision and said, hey, this is how I want to be, this is what I want to do, this is how I'm going to move forward in my life. Hands or text box if anyone has anything they want to share. You're going to graduate by the time you're 25. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you're allowed to share. Oak, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I decided that I was gonna be more optimistic versus pessimistic by the time I was like 13, because I seen that the pessimistic outlook was not working with life. So I just became a more positive person and started seeing the better sides of everything. Because there's always gonna be like downfalls and things that's not gonna go your way in life, but you just gotta use that as fuel to make yourself a better person.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Left home to come to Full Sail. Yeah, that's a huge decision. I think. Wow. Yeah, I can't imagine. Right, just having to leave home. Some people had to, move out of state or move, to a different country. And yeah, I mean, it was all those decisions that we made for ourselves. To change, to say, hey, you know what, I don't want to be, this way, or, I want the results of someone who, has this education. So I'm going to go make a decision to do that. Yeah, definitely. There's a ton of, decisions that we make. Some of them are more conscious than others. But yeah, definitely. So hats off to everybody, for having made the decision. It's a big deal, just the decision to come to school. Um, so well done. Uh, so self-determination, it begins with what's described as universal human needs, which are competence, autonomy, and relatedness. So someone did say that earlier. Well done. That you were obviously reading ahead. Um, Victor, well done. I mean, started from scratch for the fourth time to come to Full Sail. Awesome. That's pretty impressive. Um, so right, competence, autonomy, and relatedness. When these needs are satisfied, we're motivated, productive, pretty happy. Google exemplifies how businesses and employees can benefit from using principles of self-determination theory. Um, there's a video that we're going to watch in a little bit, so I'm not going to get too far into it. But yeah, it's competence, autonomy, and relatedness are really not too far off from autonomy, mastery, and purpose. They're I'm going to say they're pretty similar, but they're different names and different slightly different theories. So I'm not going to split hairs too much on that. So gamification, stemming from self-determination theory, is gamification. Gamification strategically implements fun. So it creates an environment of engagement and motivation. Gamification techniques, really strive to leverage people's natural desire for achievement and to be self-expressed. We have an article, it's titled 26 Elements of Gamification Marketing Strategies, listed in the reading on gamification this week. So feel free to check those out. Basically, everyone in marketing at some point has kind of gamified things. One of the big ones I think about, and it kills me because I can't say it's a good decision to eat fast food, but you think about like McDonald's with their Monopoly game, or Happy Meals in general. They've basically like taught you that, hey, eat our food, and it's this, you play Monopoly, or you get to have a toy and a Happy Meal. And they kind of, I don't want to say brainwash you, because that's not what they do, but there's definitely, it's a ploy. It's a marketing strategy. Monopoly at McDonald's is, you think that, oh, well, I'm just eating McDonald's anyway. But there's, when it's Monopoly time, and if you're collecting the pieces and playing the game, it's, people are like, oh, I want that, got to get that Park Place or whatever it is. Has anyone had anything like that where maybe they felt like they got drawn in a little bit to the gamification strategies that companies have implemented? Or can you tell me some other strategies that you've seen implemented by companies, maybe some of their marketing strategies that use gamification? Take people raising hands or in the chat box, whatever you want. When you were a kid, the sticker albums. Okay, I'm not quite sure. Is it collectible stickers, basically? Oh, now a million people typed. You had the Pirates of the Caribbean one. Okay, in Colombia, when you were younger, potato chip bags had collectible cards in them. They also sold chocolates that came with the stickers to fill in them. Okay, yeah, I gotcha. Okay, right. Yeah, totally. That's a huge gamification thing. So, they want you to, buy things to get some secondary thing that's not actually their product. And then you can collect those, or they're collectible, or you can collect enough to redeem them for something. Totally. That's spot on. That's exactly what it is. And it's crazy because it works, and it's like it's strange because I think that a lot of times people they don't even necessarily want the other thing. Collecting Pokemon cards or cartridge games, some of them are cross-platform, play with the N64. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think there was like a N64 like cartridge that you could plug your small games into, which I don't know if that's part of what you were talking about, but right, yeah. So a lot of companies use gamification. I think that as a marketing tool, it's really it blows my mind. Because I feel like the rewards that companies offer, if you buy enough of our product, you get enough of these coupons or whatever thing, and you get to redeem it for something. The thing you redeem it for is never really that interesting. Like when I was a kid, cereal companies did this a lot, where they'd say, if you can send us however many box tops, you get something. And like it was always just kind of garbage toys. Like it wasn't anything good. Or they'd put toys in the bottom of cereal boxes. And same thing, like, I don't know that I really wanted the toys or was that interested in them. But they did it and it worked. And I would be like, oh, I want this cereal because I want this toy at the bottom of the box. I still I couldn't tell you why now. I can't think back to like my logic as a child. But it's at the grocery store. Maybe this is the grocery store is boring and there's nothing really going on. So when you see fun things or toys, maybe you're drawn into them as a child. I don't know. My mom was usually pretty, very seldom did I actually collect enough box tops to redeem them. But there are a couple times I did. And it was interesting. Coca-Cola does a lot of commercials using gamification. They once put a huge Coke vending machine, and the only way to get one was using a friend. Okay, yeah, definitely. Sure. So there's definitely Coke is they're great at marketing, definitely. Um, yeah, if you guys, I would say if you can save the video to the end, feel free to watch it if you want to watch that later on. But I want to get through all this today. All right, we're going to move on. So we were talking. You all have seen the piano staircase. I know we've talked about this. It's super fun. It's super cool. You get people out. You get them to try new things. Everyone has seen the piano staircase? Just real quick, yes or no? Yes. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Sorry, kind of month to month. I want to make sure everyone's seen it. But right, it's cool. It's an interesting way you can get people out of their regular routine. And I think the piano staircase is kind of like a fun exception to not an exception. I don't want to say gamification's good or bad. It's a strategy. Sometimes it's used for good things. So I think when you use it to help people make healthy decisions, it's totally awesome. When you use it as a way to make people consume more fast food, it's kind of not as great then, in my opinion. But again, just my opinion. Um, so there are some companies who are doing a pretty awesome job. Um, Google, Pixar, and Zappos. There's some of the companies that people really, really seem into. Um, and they use gamification. They use a lot of the other methods that we have. And these companies are creating, kind of the conditions for people so they'll motivate themselves. They're basically teaching people to work smarter and not harder. And they're the leaders. The companies are the industry leaders because they really push the boundaries of where play ends and where work begins. So I do have a couple of videos I want to go through. They're in the materials section. If you click on materials, I would say start with inside Google. Just click on that, and I'm going to mute myself, and I'll come back in just a couple minutes. Okay, so I think everybody is hopefully coming back from that, more or less. All right. Well, cool. I hope everybody enjoyed that. It's like a fun little video. I think Google does a pretty good job with, it's like, right, they realize that they ask a lot of their employees. I think is what it really comes down to. I think that's the thing that people, they see the amenities and they see like, oh, it's a lot of fun, it's all this great stuff. They ask a lot from people, and they realize that you have to make a trade. It's if you're going to ask a lot from people, you have to kind of give a lot back, if you want them to be happy and remain employed. So just kind of something to think about, when you think about careers, where you want to end up, the companies that you want to go work for. I know, we've got some people who are interested in uh, game development or game art, things like that. I know that like some of the big companies, when they push for a new game and the game's about to get released, it's like it's work and work and work, and it's these crazy 60, 70, 80 hour weeks. People who basically kind of camp out in the office, and just stay there so they get get a ton of work done. And ideally the company gives back in kind of a nice reciprocal sort of way. Hopefully that works. Some companies give back better than others. But definitely something to kind of think about, when you're picking jobs, who you want to hitch your wagon to. So something to think about. So mixing work and play, creating an environment of creativity and imagination leads to higher efficiency, performance, happiness, all go up. Well, it seems kind of counterintuitive to traditional thinking of motivation, human behavior. It mixing play and work, and ends up working out pretty well for the most part in creative places. People who are mixing work and play, usually tend to have innovative leaders. It's not, cookie cutter employment opportunities or companies. They have a fun atmosphere, and they usually know what their why is. They know who they're reaching out to. They know who their target audience is. So those companies tend to shine. So you kind of want to think about that. What makes you shine? What makes companies shine? Um, so you might ask yourself, how can you shine? This week we've kind of been over a lot of stuff. The value of play on a larger level. How everything can be applied in, as a whole, but also to you individually. Determining what motivates you, things that will help you along your journey. Kind of how to be your best person, how to be the best at what you do. There's definitely a lot of stuff to consider that we've been over this week. So that is that's it for this week. That's motivation, self-determination theory, gamification, fun theory, and mixing work and play. Does anyone have any questions? There's the references if you're interested in those. They're kind of boring, but they're there. They don't have any questions before we hang it up for the day. If you don't have any questions, you're free to leave. If you do have questions, I'm happy to sit and answer them. Can I explain about the team research? So the team research assignment for this week was to it was on fit. So everyone, I'd say work, talk with your groups, but each individual person will be making their own post. Everyone, make a post. That post should contain, an article or a link to an article, with a happy St. Patty's, with a recipe that you want to make, or a fitness, activity that you want to do, something related to your fit goals. So some sort of activity, and then you kind of talk about it, right? Say, hey, I want to, work on this, new exercise routine I found. I want to know why, so talk about that. I'd like to see, at minimum a paragraph, kind of going through, why you're choosing that part of fit to work on. And then comment on 2 of your peers using the RISE model. Does that explain it, or do you still have more questions? Okay, yeah, sure. Yep, you're most welcome. Happy to help. Does anyone else have any questions? You don't have to meet with your group. It's not absolutely mandatory. I think that your group's probably a pretty good, starting place if you want to talk about your ideas. But if you don't have like a meeting set up, you don't have to set one up for that. No. I think they're a good place to start. That's more suggestive than anything else for this week specifically. You're welcome. Oh, I have seen these before, Victor. Thank you. These are, yeah, they're kind of crazy. Yeah, you have a good one as well. Anybody else have any questions? Yep, sure. If you want, I can unmute you if you want, or you can write it. Whatever makes you happy. Hey, Andrew, are you there? Ooh, looks like your microphone is not working. You might have to type it. Yes. Yeah, if you got disconnected halfway through, yeah, I'll post the video up. It'll be in the same activity as it'll be in the go-to training activity for this week. So it'll be up there. Any other questions?